si Saint Joseph is really feared by the tempter. Why? Because Saint Joseph had this grace, yung self-mastery niya sa emotions
self-awareness niya.
Oo, yung emotions niya, na kaya niya i-master yung emotions niya. Kasi dun umaatake yung enemy
Yes.
sa emotions
Hi, Langga!
This is Jared.
And this is Apple.
Welcome to the Langga Speaks podcast.
Join our beloved conversations
About God's love and joy. Hello everyone, welcome to the Langga Speaks podcast. Medyo slow down po tayo ngayon.
I know, right? It's been a while since we've been in this studio setup, which is our bathroom.
Hindi ako magkasya dito sa bathtub. Wait, hindi ko mahanap yung position ko.
You chose to sit there. Kaya
kasi mas madali kaysa dyan ako sa toilet seat. Tsaka salamat lang for waking up.
Thank you for waking me up also. It was such a joy to wake up.
Sa totoo lang mga langga, medyo alam nyo na, every time na ganito yung gisingan, mahirap talagang makahanap ng mood to record. Kaya we took a while also. Mga 20 minutes din pala bago tayo nag-hit record. Yeah. Saktong-sakto kasi self-knowledge yung topic natin ngayon. Kasi alam ko na eh. Mahirap kasing ipilit agad na hit the record button tapos wala ka sa mood.
Hindi naman wala sa mood, wala sa wish mo.
It translates to the recording.
My mind is still catching up with my body, which is still waking up.
I-update mo sila. Bakit ba?
So,
ngayon lang tayo nagre-record.
Gito yun mga langga. So, for the past week, we've had family over. So, it was also hard for us to schedule
the usual recording.
Our usual recording timeline.
Well, usual recording natin mahirap na.
Our usual recording already in itself is already a struggle. Tapos with the addition of new members in our household, medyo nahirapan kami move around. Hindi naman mansion yung bahay namin, diba?
Oo. So, dun sa kwarto na kung saan kami nagre-record regularly,
and then si mama.
nandun yung nanay ko na 3 years ko nang hindi nakita. So, alangan naman paalisin ko siya doon.
Oo naman. Saan naman patutulog si mama? Tapos, kung sa labas naman, nandun din naman yung sister with pamangkin. So, medyo puno yung bahay namin. Masaya.
At ang tagal nilang matulog. Napaka-hype beast ng mga bata.
Hype beast. Yes, our household's been full of children playing, arguing, ganyan. So it's been a beautiful, chaotic, noise-filled joy. Hindi ko pa alam kung joy. Basta, maingay lang talaga yung bahay. So it's been hard for us to schedule. Plus, we were planning to schedule our recording yesterday naman. Pero because of a decision that I really, of trying to upgrade my look. Oh, mahilig ka kasi mag-post sa Instagram. Nakakaloka talaga na yung nauna yung mag-announce kahit hindi pa tapos.
At least alam nila kung bakit ngayon lang tayo nag-post.
Ganon.
Kasi ganon ang commitment natin sa mga langga. At least alam nila, ba't walang episode ngayon?
Pwede ka naman magsabi, still in progress.
Ng kulay ng buhok.
However, the look that we wanted to achieve was not achieved within this short span of time. Kaya yung nangyari, we remedied the situation with the intention of repeating it in a couple of months. Ganyan. Dahil kailangan namin ibalik yung kulay kasi hindi ako papayag na hindi rin kami papayag na yun yung magiging look ko, yung unfinished look for the wedding of my sister, yung third namin sa Fuentes family. Which
parang okay naman sa akin yung look na yun, to be honest.
Hindi mo kasi nakita. Nahihirapan talaga. Mahihirapan yung isang kapatid ko na i-style yung buhok ko because of the unfinished look. And yan. So, shout out din sa mga kapatid ko na who had the patience and understanding to handle my my understanding of how the timeline of changing hair color works. Because it's been a long, it's been 10 years since I last touched my hair. Wow.
Only particular people touches your hair.
Oo, medyo. Pero alam ko naman na syempre naintindihan ko the situation was not anticipated. So, there was a lot of understanding naman din involved.
So
hopefully,
basically,
because
cut
of
the story
that,
short.
cut the story short, since hindi nangyari yung look at naibalik, sobrang
Nakatulog na
late.
ako.
Nakatulog na si Jerry, kaya hindi natuloy yung recording. Ganyan.
Ito mga 1 p.m. na eh.
Hindi, nakatulog ka na, alas 12.
12:30-ish na eh.
Alas 12 ka na natulog, natapos kami mga 12:30, 12:45. Na-realize namin, hindi na-achieve yung goal. So, natulog na lang kami. Nagising kami ng kapatid ko.
Meron ka pa ring foil sa buhok.
Ha? Oo.
Natulog ako, may foil ka
Oo,
sa buhok.
may foil pa.
Pagising ko, may foil ka ulit sa buhok.
Oo, kasi
pambihira talaga.
binabalik namin yung kulay. Ganyan.
Iba?
Okay lang. Anyway, shout out din sa mga langga who are also, we would love to ask for prayers din para sa
Buhok mo.
buhok ko. Hindi, sa kapatid ko na ikakasal this
okay,
week.
akala ko.
Ikakasal this
Sa marriage
week.
nila. Kasi sa iba
Oo.
makikinig nito, naikasal na sila.
Oo, tama.
Para sa marriage na lang.
Para
At
sa
sa mga
marriage.
lahat ng marriage nitong taon na to,
Oo,
we
no?
pray for you guys.
Exactly. So, because of the process of discernment that people go through to enter the vocation of marriage, which is also another reason why we're entering into this series, which is the catechesis that Pope Francis is currently giving as of this recording for the past couple of weeks on discernment during
Yes.
his Wednesday general audiences in the Vatican.
Yes, last episode we discussed about how prayer can be understood as familiarity and confidence with God. Di ba? Yung parang diretso mo siyang kakausapin bilang isang kaibigan, bilang isang ama, di ba? Na you're not afraid of opening up your heart, praying with an open heart. Kumbaga yun yung part of the discernment process is being able to be familiar with the Lord. And of course, being familiar with the Lord is one of the elements lang. That's why today we uncover and unbox another element of discernment, which is self-knowledge. Because good discernment also requires self-knowledge, which is knowing oneself.
Now, of course, we are talking about knowing yung
Kulay ng buhok na gusto mo.
more than just the color. Pero talaga, gusto ko talaga ma-achieve yun. As in, I really, and I know that those girls who worked on my hair, those ladies who worked on my hair, I knew that they can achieve it. Kaso, because of the short span of time.
Ano ba yung kulay nun? If you
Gusto
don't
ko
mind
tala-
sharing to our langgas.
Ash gray talaga.
Yan, ash gray.
Ash gray na parang silver effect. Gusto ko talaga mang ganun. Parang magmumukha akong Storm. Ay, hindi. Hindi ba yun? Oo, di ba si Storm yun? Yung sa X-Men. Di ba ganun yung calling niya?
Hindi, ang buhok ni Storm, white, di ba?
Hindi ba ano yun, silver? Anyways, basta ganun yung effect na gusto ko sa hair ko. Ganyan. Nagpapaganda lang ako kasi...
Maganda ka naman talaga kahit di ka
Thank
magkulay
you.
ng buhok.
Thank you. Gusto ko lang ng bagong look kasi magta-34 na ako next
Wow.
year. Ay, grabe. Mid-30s crisis pala yung nangyayari dito sa side ko.
So okay lang sa'yo na pag nagkulay ka ng buhok, okay sa'yo mag-video more, makita ka sa stories, makita ka sa...
Hindi pa rin, bakit ba? Hindi ko naman ginagawin para sa ibang tao, sabi ko nga sa'yo. Gusto ko naman gawin yan.
So hindi mo ginagawa ito para kahit kanino man?
Para sa'yo, syempre.
Yeah.
Magandahan ako.
Para less tayong mag-away bago mag-recording?
Hindi, depende naman yun sa'yo eh. Yung pag-away natin, wala yun sa kulay ng buhok. Depende yun sa'yo sa pag-ano sa
Bakit
akin.
depende sa akin? Lagi na lang sa akin depende.
Lagi na lang mamuulan. But you know what, mga langga? Self-knowledge, knowing of oneself, one's inner desires, when it moves your heart to do anything, it's not easy. Because you see, this discernment involves our human faculties, which is your memory, your intellect, the will, the affection, the things that move you. And usually we don't know how to discern kasi we don't really know ourselves well enough. And because we don't know ourselves well enough, we don't know what it is exactly that we want. Diba, how many times have we heard others or even ourselves tell ourselves na ay nako, when we meet someone or even someone close to us, iisipin na natin, ay nako, wala na ba siyang direction sa buhay niya? Doesn't he
True.
know what she wants? Or doesn't he know what he wants in life? It just seems that they're just moving in any random direction, going as the river flows, mga ganyan, ala Pocahontas, ganyan. So, it just probably happens to us that maybe we ourselves do not know what we want clearly because we do not know who we are. We don't know ourselves well.
Oo, yung sabi ni Pope Francis nangyayari to sa I mean, majority of us for sure. Hindi naman automatic na pinanganak ka, you go through life, alam mo na agad yung dapat mong gawin eh.
Totoo.
I mean, some people, they discover it earlier than others. But all of us go through that process of discovering what we really want, diba? Especially, of course, when you have underlying spiritual doubts and vocational crisis, ibig sabihin nun, merong insufficient dialogue daw between the religious life and our human cognitive and affective dimension. Ano nga ba ito? Ito yung sinasabi ni Pope Francis from this author called Thomas Green, from The Weeds Among the Wheat. Ang ganda ng sinabi niya dito langga. Sabi niya, I have come to the conviction that the greatest obstacle to true discernment and to real growth in prayer is not the intangible nature of God, but the fact that we do not know ourselves sufficiently and do not even want to know ourselves as we really are. Almost all of us hide behind a mask, not only in front of others, but also when we look in the mirror. So, ibig sabihin, lahat tayo meron temptation to put a facade, to wear a mask even in front of ourselves.
And it's when we have this mask on, when we are unable to identify or to really connect with who we truly are, the ignorance of ourselves, ika nga, because we aren't familiar, we aren't comfortable with who we are really deeply as a person. What happens is we also a part of this ignorance of ourselves is also forgetting God's presence in our lives. It comes hand in hand kasi yung ignoring God and ignoring ourselves, and all of this leads to an ignorance of our personality traits, an ignorance of our deepest desires. Pero alam mo yung mga narinig natin, especially you hear before, I think it was a thing before, yung mga midlife crisis. Ngayon in this generation, yung where we're expected to mature faster, we're expected to reach certain goals faster in our mid-20s, sometimes even by the minute you graduate out of high school. And then you have this immense pressure from society to be able to tick off so many boxes that we get lost. Na yung parang hindi na natin kilala yung sarili natin because we're so focused on trying to tick these boxes.
Yes.
Because of that, we lose a chance to be able to really get to know who we are. And that's why we will end up having a moment na parang, okay, you know what, I just need to stop what I'm doing and I need to have a soul-searching moment. You'll find people just stop in the middle of where they're going, what they're doing, and they say, I can't do this anymore. I can't commit to this, maybe to this relationship. I can't commit to this job because I'm burning out. Because they don't know hindi na nila kilala yung isa't isa, or they don't know themselves anymore. But the knowing of oneself isn't actually difficult, but it is laborious, and it is something that it is an ongoing process. And because we feel that in order to be able to tick those boxes na like now na, to have that pressure to be able to create a solid, unified, whole identity already, like what? By the time you reach 18, 19, by the time you reach 24 and you haven't gotten married yet, you're not in a committed relationship, you're not in a growing career, you suddenly feel, no, okay, wait, I have no idea where I am anymore, because you're just in this rat race to reach a certain standard that the world is placing on you.
Actually, I had an earlier conversation regarding this particular topic. I had a moment with my brother na hindi ko rin nakita almost 3 years. And then we were having a conversation and he was saying na, ikaw nga 27, may pangkasal ka na, you're already settled in your direction in life. And I told him, you know what, Jude, sa totoo lang, yung mga pinagdadaanan ngayon, by the way, my brother is an entrepreneur. So sabi ko sa kanya, you are actually doing so much already at such a young age. And you should not discredit yourself looking at me at the age that I got married, that I got to find my direction as your yardstick, diba? I mean, it's not the stick that you can measure to, because we all have different races in life.
Exactly.
And to put your life on the template of another is unfair to oneself.
Exactly.
You have to be able to define what success means to you as a person and not based on what the world tries to put on you. Kasi nabubuhay nga, like you said, ang daming mga kabataan ngayon, they're so pressured by unrealistic
Expectations.
Placed by society, placed by it's placed upon themselves na template nila sa iba. They forgot that yes, things do take time, and discernment, like what Pope Francis says, requires a patient soul searching. You don't get it by going to a deserted place deserted place in one go. Let's say you go, let's say, for a Camino, and you expect to find your answers there. It's not
Of
automatically.
course, not dismissing
Not dismissing. But
pilgrimages.
I'm not saying that there is no one straight path to discovering one's life calling.
And also, like, for example, I don't know if in the Filipino culture there's, yung gap year, yung tinatawag na gap year.
Actually, yung mga parang
You'll take a year off
usually
to be able
super
to...
tagal eh.
You'll take a year off to... Siyempre, yung iba, yung magka-travel or hahanapin na yung sarili nila, yung before they settle down or before they really start searching on a career path to be able to get to know. But it's one thing about doing so many activities. It's one thing externally, but internally is whether the searching of yourself is really there. It's one thing to experience things outside that's beyond your normal routine, but unless there is an inner movement of the heart towards getting to know oneself completely, wholly, fully, then I'm not dismissing naman the external experiences, but then it doesn't really reach the fullest potential of that experience can give you.
Sabi nga dito ni Pope Francis, it requires the capacity to stop. A lot of people right now don't have that capacity to stop, to deactivate the autopilot of just searching and searching and searching. But to acquire awareness of our way of acting, of the feelings that dwell within us. That is important, no? Ano yung mga recurrent thoughts that condition us? Usually, unconsciously, alam ba natin yung mga yon? Yung mga inner voices na paulit-ulit. Totoo ba yung mga inner voices na yon? Because it also requires that we distinguish between emotions and spiritual faculties.
Ito yung naalala ko din yung isang conversation I had with a newfound friend a couple of weeks ago. Yung pumunta siya dito sa bahay. And we were talking about discernment of vocation. And she was sharing how at the age of 24 nga ba siya, she really wants to find her vocation. So she's tried different
Search-ins.
She's tried search-ins, although technically she said hindi pa siya search-in, and then open to the idea of dating, mga ganyan. Ano ba talaga yung para sa kanya? Is she meant to enter into the religious life? Is she meant to be married? Is she meant to be single? And although I do honor the idea, the process of searching for one's vocation, because that was also a very big battle for me. Pero yun nga yung isa, yung you get stuck in the process of just searching. Searching. Pero unless you also understand yung sinasabi nga na to be aware, to acquire an awareness of how you act and the feelings that are moving inside to really lead you towards the discernment process, because it leads you to get to know who you are as a person, you'll just get stuck in searching. And before you know it, a decade has passed and you're still searching and you're frustrated at where you are and you start resenting the entire process.
Diba? Sabi dito, quote-unquote, I feel is not the same as I am convinced. And I feel like it's not the same as I want. We have to come to recognize that the view we have of ourselves and of reality is somehow minsan distorted Diba? Pero, mga langga, wag kayo mabahala. Alam sa sabihin nila, ano ba to? Nandito
What's
ako sa...
mabahala?
Wag kayo, don't worry.
Okay.
If you are in this stuck moment na ang tagal ko na nagdi-discern, ilang years na, ano ba yan, wala na akong pag-asa. Have hope. Kasi sabi ni Pope Francis, to realize that you are in this particular distortive place is a grace. You know? Very often kasi it can happen na marami tayong iba't ibang convictions na mali because it's based on our past experiences that influences us. Basically, kunyari, meron kang trauma or past hurt, it limits our freedom to strive for what really matters in our lives. Especially now, in the computer age, sabi niya, we know how it is important to have passwords. Langga, I mean, di ba? Ako, may listahan tayo ng passwords.
Password 123.
Sa dami ng ating mga budol account. Ay, ako lang pala.
Atin daw Atin. Ano yun? Pati yung conjugal.
O, diba? Kasi syempre, kailangan mo ng password para makaget into the program ka. Lalo na ngayon, Black Friday, mga kapuso. Yay! Anyway, just kidding. And of course, meron mga accounts na it holds your personal and valuable information. Tulad ng banks, yung mga different password managers that we have. Sa spiritual life, according to this Catechesis, meron din tayong quote-unquote passwords. There are words that touch our heart because they make a reference to what we are sensitive to. So we have to know those. We have to be aware of those passwords sa puso natin. Kasi hindi lang tayo ang nakakaalam niyan. Alam din yan ng demonyo. The devil also knows these keywords as well. And it is important that we know them too para hindi natin, hindi tayo matrap into where we do not want to be.
Speaking of the enemy, speaking of the tempter, naalala ko yung isang talk na my brother recommended me to listen to about Saint Joseph. And sabi daw dun ng priest is that na si Saint Joseph is really feared by the tempter. Why? Because Saint Joseph had this grace, yung self-mastery niya sa emotions.
Self-awareness niya.
Oo, yung emotions niya, na kaya niya i-master yung emotions niya. Kasi dun umaatake yung enemy
Yes.
sa emotions Diyan siya pumapasok to be able to move us away from God. And the thing is, that's how he tempts us to make decisions that will lead us farther away from who we are, which is a child of God. And the thing about temptation is, although yes, it's something na we always associate with something negative, but Pope Francis says that temptation doesn't necessarily suggest bad things all the time. But what happens is that ito yung, instead of bad things, temptation often refers to haphazard things presented with excessive importance. Ibig sabihin, hindi necessarily na masama siya, pero itong mga bagay na to na tinatempt tayo ay things that will take us away from where we are supposed to be heading, and they will place...
It distracts us.
It distracts us. The tempter will place excessive importance on things that shouldn't be really the number one priority at that particular time. Kaya dangerous ang temptation sa atin.
Sabi dito, in this way, it hypnotizes us with the attractions that these things stir in us. So, yung mga mabubuting bagay, yung mga dating dinidesire natin, pero, in our stage in life, hindi na pala bagay yun, or hindi na nararapat. Things that are beautiful, but illusory. Ibig sabihin, maganda lang siya sa panlabas na anyo, pero illusion lang siya. It cannot deliver what they promise. If we are hurting, like for example, relationships,
Yes.
that maybe we are desiring, or things in a relationship that we are trying to fast forward.
Exactly.
Just
for
because
example,
it's beautiful.
Yes, like for example, in the relationship, sex in itself, we have said this again and again, sex is not wrong. Sex is not a bad thing. But when we place excessive importance on sex at the wrong time, at the wrong situation, nagiging temptation
Yes.
yan.
It therefore leaves us, in the end, with a sense of emptiness and sadness.
Exactly.
Doon mo makikita yon. Bakit meron kang pag-aalinlangan? Why do you feel that what you're doing is not right even though it felt good?
Good. Exactly. Kaya bumabalik tayo sa sinasabi ni Jerry kanina, what the Pope was saying, that how I feel is not the same as I want.
That sense of emptiness, according to Pope Francis, and sadness is a sign that we have embarked on a direction that is not right, that disorients us. So, again, hindi lang ito sa sex, hindi lang ito about certain sins. They can also be, for example, degrees, careers, things that are in themselves praiseworthy. Diba? Sabi ko, hindi naman masaya mag-goal setting.
Wala naman masama to desire a career, a successful career, to
Exactly.
desire
Or a degree.
or a degree. There's nothing wrong in desiring material, in acquiring a material wealth.
Thank you, Langga.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
But placing excessive importance upon things that will redirect you from the path that will lead you closer to God, dun na nagiging dangerous na siya.
Eto pa. Or if it kinda leans towards it leans towards unreal expectations, ibig sabihin doon na nakakabit minsan yung worth natin. Pag hindi ko nakuha tong degree na to, pag hindi ko nakuha tong promotion na to, I think I'm not worthy.
Pag hindi ko nakuha
Pag hindi ko nakuha yung ash gray.
Oo, ibig sabihin, less na akong bilang
Yung worth
babae.
ko.
Oo, ganun
Diba?
yun.
For example, sa mga nakikinig nito, a lot of you are still students. So, I would like to assume. So, when you think of a study...
Nag-reach tayo sa mga college students
Oh,
pala.
for example, you are studying something. Do you think of only promoting yourself? Sabi dito sa example ni Pope Francis. Tama siya eh. Kasi kung it ends with us, there's something
Selfish
that
about
we
it.
need to reassess. So, kunyari sa study nga na tinitake mo, do you think of only promoting yourself or of your own interests, or do you do this to serve a community?
That's why we honor people who desire to acquire a certain financial status, because it's not just for themselves, because they know that being able to reach a certain level of material wealth, they would be able to bless others. When your end goal is not just for your own worth, for your own sake, but your end goal is always to be able to share God's love to others, then yun yung intention.
Kaya I
behind
honor you for
everything.
waking up, kasi you don't do this only for yourself. You're doing this for Maan, who's waiting for our web.
Shout out, man. Salamat, ma. Salamat din sa mga nag-aabang sa mga stories ng asawa ko habang nangyayari po yung pagproseso ng buhok ko. Don't worry, friends, pag natuloy po talaga siya, makikita nyo. Pero i-advise ko din po yung asawa ko, who's opposite right now, na sana hindi mo muna unahan yung mga ganyang announcement.
Okay. Anyway, kailangan malaman nila, on board sila, para hindi magkakagulatan. Bakit wala pa sa Spotify? Sinisisi nila yung Spotify.
Kuha mo naman yung Spotify, nasisisi.
Again, mga langga, intentionality is different, and intentionality is very important to consider here. It is important to know ourselves. Kailangan natin malaman talaga yung mga passwords sa puso natin in order for us to protect ourselves from, going into different things that are temporary and not important. We also do this para ma-protect natin yung sarili natin from those who present themselves with persuasive words to manipulate us. Ito yung mga...
Yung madaling ma-reply.
Akala ko ba mahal mo ko? Bakit hindi mo ibigay sa akin ang hinihiling ko?
Ano yun? Yung mga add to cart mo, ganon.
Akala ko ba mahal mo ko? Bakit hindi mo ibigay sa akin yung hinihingi kong electric grinder?
Dahil yan, tuloy. Ganito yun.
Nadadali ko tuloy yung mga laruan dito sa bathtub eh. Hira.
Diyos kong bathtub na yan.
Nadi-distract ka ba sa position ko?
Nai-distract ako sa bathtub.
Nakangalay na ako para pinupulikat ako dito.
You chose to sit there low. There is a good enough space here.
Maingay yan eh. Kumakanya.
Di pwede ka naman umupo sa sahig.
Again, I've discerned this.
Oo. Kaya
And
sige,
I know that
supportan
this
pa
is
ka.
truly important.
Sige. I'll support you. Let's continue.
Again, aside from knowing those people who present themselves with persuasive words, we also have to recognize what is truly important to us by knowing kung ano yung mga flashy things lang sa buhay, yung mga puro, ang tawag dito, yung mga flashy, basta may syndrome na ganun eh. Yung shiny thing syndrome.
Shiny, shimmering, splendid.
Madali tayo ma-attract sa mga pansamantala lang pero beautifully na-mesmerize agad tayo.
Katulad ng electric grinder. Sige, continue mo.
It's to bless others.
Sure.
Again, nakikita natin yan because of social media, mainstream media. Ang dami din mga video na touches our hearts. But, it makes us go that way. Kala natin dahil popular, it's the right thing to do. Again, mga langga, we have to ask ourselves, am I free? Or do I let myself be swayed by the feelings of the moment or the provocations of the moment? Yun yung dapat nating tanungin eh.
So one of the things in this,
Na-hype lang ba ako?
sa electric yarder, baka, oo. Kasi wala tayong space eh. Papadagdag ka pa sa mga gamit sa kusina. Wala na akong space pagkat ng mga kamatis ko.
Wala akong binibili. Meron lang giveaway. Feeling ko mananalo ako.
Naman tayo. I know. But then part of this, yung Pope Francis proposes, something that can help us along in our process of discernment, of the knowledge of ourselves, is something called examination of conscience. But it's not necessarily the one we do before we go for confession. This is a daily, general examination of yung conscience mo during the day. This is a practice, I believe, also advocated by the Jesuits, right? Because Pope Francis is a Jesuit. Yeah, yung examine, the daily examine of where you go through what went on in your day from the moment you woke up and before you got into bed, the actions you did, the words that you spoke, and the intentions behind all of those, where you ask questions like which or why or what traces did those moments leave on my heart. And when we do that, it's a daily habit of
what happened in my heart during this day. Ganyan, mga ganyan tanungan.
So of asking, of examining oneself, examining one's conscience, going through the intentions of every action of every day, by calmly rereading what happened during the day that took place, we are able to learn how to note in our evaluations and choices the things that we give most importance to, what we are looking for and why, and what we eventually find as the result of that process. And in doing so, having this daily examine helps us to know ourselves more kasi nare-recognize natin what are the things that move us, what are the things that satisfies our heart, what are the things that the things that make us up as a person.
So sa mga hindi pa nakakaalam kung paano simulan ito, we would like to invite you to download the app Hallow. You can see the link. You can download it for free. It's a free app, but there is a daily examine there.
If you download using the link we give here in our show notes, you would get
3 months free at least. Free. A 20% discount if you do get the premium. But it's actually free, and you can do the daily examine as free as it can get. We'd love to have you in the app. It's called Hallow app. It's the #1 Catholic app in the world. Please do check the show notes to download it. And of course, I would be delighted to pray with you if you are in the Philippines, and if you are a Filipino, you can have the Filipino prayers.
Yes, you see, mga langga, because Jeric, you will not only hear his voice here on this podcast, but you would also hear him on the Filipino content praying the Filipino prayers.
Yes.
So if you do check out Hallow, it is a free app. The content is free there, although if you do decide to get premium, you would have a little bit extra. But all of the majority of the content is free. So please go ahead and check the link here in our show notes and download Hallow app today.
So, yep. Hope you can do the daily examine. Of course, once again, mga langga, only the Lord can give us the confirmation of what we are worth. Hindi yun sa sitwasyon natin, hindi sa mga degrees natin, hindi sa mga achievements natin.
Hindi sa mga hindi ko na-achieve na kulay sa buhok.
Exactly.
Hindi naman nanggagaling dun yung worth ko sa buhok. Pampadagdag lang naman ng confidence ko.
Of course. It's a daily reminder when we look at the cross kung gaano tayo kamahal ng Diyos, kung gaano tayo kaimportante. Kasi He died for us to show who we really are in His eyes. There is no obstacle or failure that can prevent His tender embrace.
Alam mo, there are some people, the way how the nature of the personality is. Katulad sa akin, yung mga introvert katulad ko, I find myself going through a lot of yung mga situations that I went through during the day, and I keep rerunning them in my mind, and I keep rerunning na, paano kung what if I said it like this na lang? Or what if I said it like that? Or what if I did this? What if I did not do that? Maybe a way of leveling up that that problematic issue in my mind of going through situations that took place is to be able to convert it into something like that, a daily examine, where instead of just rewatching situations, scenes act out in my mind, wishing it could have been different in order to satisfy my own ego, instead of doing that, if I converted it into a kind of a daily examine, instead of putting myself in an I wish situation, it would have been, this is how you are, Apple, pala.
Makakatulong sa iyo yan. Kasi ang examination of conscience, sabi nga dito sa Catechesis, is parang para siyang toll gate eh. Ibig sabihin, walang bagay na dadaan sa puso mo na hindi mo alam.
True.
So it's knowing that, it's knowing about it.
You can deny it. You can deny it, but for sure, you will know that it took place sa puso
ano dumaan
mo.
ngayon? Yung tinatanong mo dun eh, what passed by today? Ano ba nangyari? What happened? What made me react? Bakit ako nagalit kanina? For example, bakit
ginising
yung
ako.
feeling ko, ako lang yung may gustong mag-record? Bakit yung feeling ko, ako lang yung gustong ituloy itong episode today?
Bakit na-frustrate ako?
Bakit ako na-frustrate, di ba?
Oo,
What made me sad? Nasad ako eh, kasi oo ka lang ng oo eh, pero 30 minutes ka na oo ng oo.
Oo. Or what made me happy? Why did this make me happy? Why did this bring me joy? Knowing of oneself doesn't only mean going through situations that made you feel sad. Knowing oneself also is looking into situations, things, experiences that God gave you for you to experience joy. It's all of this in this entire package to help us know ourselves.
Saka dito, tinatanong mo din, did I harm others? You know, what did I do to others? It's about seeing the path of our feelings and the attractions in my heart during the day. In short, yun nga, once again, self-knowledge, self-awareness is very important. Dapat alam mo kung saan nakatuon yung puso mo.
Oo.
Minsan kasi nga, ginagawa ko ba to dahil uso lang?
Oo.
Ginagawa ko ba to please others?
Oo.
Kahit hindi na nakakabuti sa sarili ko. So those are the questions that we need to be reminded of.
Part of it
Langga.
also is taking note na how people react to us then, and understanding what was it about me that made people react like that. Was I not aware of how I moved? Was it not aware of how I acted that made people react like that? Maybe God is teaching me in this way na, okay, maybe this aspect of my personality, I need to be able to work on.
Amen.
Diba?
Amen.
Ganon.
So mga langga, prayer and self-knowledge, this enables us to grow in freedom. This is to grow in freedom, according to Pope Francis. And this is a reminder for all of us na, you know, these are basic elements of Christian existence, and it is needed for us to find our place in our lives. To find our place in life, basically. You know, we have to be able to have this self-awareness together with prayer. We can't do this alone. To recognize that we need the grace of God is one step forward. So, wag ka mabahala. Wag mong isipin na pag-iiwanan ka. Wag mong isipin nawawala ka. Dahil kung nakikinig ka ngayon ng podcast na to, ibig sabihin, you know, maybe this is the way of God reminding you that your worth is anchored on me. Do not be afraid. You know, do not be afraid. Let me direct you. Trust me once again. My hand is always open wide to receive you, to guide you to the right path.
Amen. So sa mga langga, if you've listened to the last week episode and listened to it, joined with us, waited for this particular week's episode, we thank you for your patience. We thank you for your love and for your support. And we thank you for making us a weekly part of your journey. We really appreciate, sa totoo lang, na minsan naisip namin na, alam mo, nakaka-affirm talaga yung parang, pag may mga nagtatanong, nasa na ba? Na-late
Bakit
ba?
wala po?
Bakit
May sira
wala
po ba yung Spotify?
So, sa mga lang
Bakit po ba ang tagal magkulay ng buhok?
yun talaga. Mahirap talaga yung ginawa nila. Kaya I honor din them sa effort nila. Pero you know what, mga langga, whenever you guys do that and reach out to us, it's really, you are all an affirmation sa amin ni Jeric sa pagmamahal ng Diyos sa amin. So, we really, really, really are so grateful sa inyo lahat.
Maraming salamat, mga langga. Hope to see you next week and hopefully
On time kami.
on time next week. But officially we ended 11. What time is it now?
56.
11:58. Dubai time, Sunday. I won't be able to publish this by then, but then it still counts in our vocabulary.
Over.
This is me, Jared.
And this is Apple.
Always reminding you na palangga
Palangga
ka
ka
sang
sa
Diyos.